This is one of the advantages of doing my own research, that this book wasn't going to be a book about immigration. I had a great idea for a book, which, by the way, I still think is a great idea for a book. And I'd written a couple of chapters, at least drafted them, and I get to my immigration chapter, and I go to look up, basic obvious facts, how many immigrants are in prison. 2 weeks of looking, and I'm a fanatical researcher. The Census Department, the Department of Justice, the Bureau of Prisons, which has to be pretty good on these things because they have to keep the different gangs separated. So they really need to know. They have a reason to know. I look in the New York Times and Nexus, and has anybody argued about this? And everybody's arguing about wild guesses by the government. They refuse to tell us. And every time I'd come across a government report that seemed to be, this is what I mean about the first line of Anna Karenina, the truth is always the same. The lies are lies in their own ways. So you'd start reading the report. I'd think, hallelujah, here it is, a report titled, immigrants, how many immigrants are in prison? And then you start reading the report, and every year except 1925, Hispanics are counted as white. That's one report. Another one, the GAO, the congressional investigators had to ask the GAO to count, to tell us, because the Department of Justice didn't have it, the Bureau of Prisons didn't have it. So the GAO, they've done a couple of massive investigations, but on closer examination, they're counting illegal and legal immigrants, which I think we should do, in the federal prison, but in the much larger state system, they're counting only illegal immigrants for whom the states have requested reimbursement, only illegal immigrants for whom the states have requested reimbursement who have committed at least one felony or 2 misdemeanors. We're not getting anchor babies. We're not getting the children of the ones, not even the children, but the ones amnestied by Reagan. No, I want to know. I think we have a right to know, and I think the last few weeks, now that, thank you Donald Trump, he's brought it to the fore, and the shooting in San Francisco, people are thinking, yeah, how many are there? Incidentally, I spent the weekend and a lot of money looking up these reports. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen some of this. Liberals keep aggressively asserting on TV, well, studies show immigrants commit less crime than Americans do. Now, I know that's not true. What I don't know is how they're lying, so I wanted to know, and I try to get the reports. Well, first of all, you ought to be suspicious that one of the arguments they're making is, well, New York City has a lot of immigrants, and I don't see a lot of crime here. That's not a study. That's not science. It's retarded. And, Geraldo was making that argument with me, and Geraldo is not a stupid man, so the facts must not be very good. But anyway, I try looking for the studies, and I put in, sometimes you'd get a reference to the name of a researcher, and then I was looking on Nexus to try to see where are these studies, can I see what they're saying? And you'll get a professor from such and such a university, well, I just did a study, and it turns out first-generation immigrants commit far less crime than Americans, but they're all hidden. I'd track down the study. They're all hidden behind paywalls. And, I'm already paying for Scribd, for Nexus, for a billion different services. So first I wasted 2 hours thinking, come on, you're not going to make me pay $50 for this crap-ass study. But, yeah, I had to keep paying $50 just so I could skim down, find out what the lie is, which is what I'm probably going to tell you all about in my column this week, but I'll tell you right now. They are not looking at Americans. They are looking at criminal Americans.
Yep.
They have different ways of doing it, but one guy, and the big headline, and he's being quoted in the Dallas Morning News and the New York Times, well, my study showed first-generation immigrants, far less crime than Americans, the native-born Americans. So then you see what he looked at. He's looking at the trajectory, as he says. So the base population were juvenile offenders. So this is someone who has already been convicted of a crime, which he admits, well, my base study began with 45% blacks, 33% Hispanics, and 15% whites. That's not a cross-section of America. That's a cross-section of our criminal population. The other ones will, pick a city at random and look at the native-born Americans versus immigrants. Let's take Detroit. What? Wait, I'm sorry. Do you think I'm not going to point out that The black underclass has a very high crime rate, because I'm gonna